Storykate. Asked many times my members of Storykate community to provide examples of EYLF planning cycle in action. I respond video will show you how to go through all steps of the planning cycle, starting from observing children, assessing their learning, implementing, reflecting and evaluating. Each stage of this planning cycle, I promise to give you lots and lots of examples how it is. This is the EYLF planning cycle as it is taken from EYLF Early Years Learning Framework 2.0. Early Years Learning Framework planning cycle has steps: observe, assess, plan, implement, evaluate. To make this video more appealing and easier to understand, I use the same colors as in the planning cycle as it's portrayed in the EYLF 2.0. Cycle usually describes the process that we all as educators have to follow, and these are the steps that's required: planning, documenting, responding, children's learning, observing at each stage of the cycle in a way that you have to write it down, document whatever you use for documentation be done at each stage. When you assess, your document children's observations or you write notes that are made by families. Plan, you can draft your plans on program template that you might have in your room or your center. Write them down in your reflective diary, or you can write a proper learning plan. Whatever you choose, the important thing, as EYLF document states, is to document. So 5 components are important and none of these steps can be skipped. As the assessors from department, when they come to assess, to do assessment and rating visit, when they assess for quality area 1, they see part as missing one of the steps. The main purpose of this video to show you how to do planning cycle in early childhood education and care. I'm going to use the observations and I'm going to show you how I'm going to go through stage 1, collecting information, stage 2, assess or analyze or interpret learning, 3, plan the program or experiences, design, implement or set up experiences and do the activities, and finally, reflect on learning. Questions are invaluable for every early childhood educator. Is a poster that you can download on a CEQA website. Put it in every room, put it in your reflection diary, and make sure that when you document, you go through all 5 stages. Even scheduling it this way and using color coding can help you to make sure that you did not miss any. Little bit of context here. So I was in preschool. Singing songs, action songs, small group discussions, art activities were considered to be part of the program. Access to the nightly program, and I used it also to inspire my play. Kindergarten teacher and supervisor Cherie was singing to children every day, especially during transition time. I was offered to choose children who are my focus children, so and I have chosen these 5. Found that to some extent they all expressed interest in reptiles, snakes, crocodiles, lizards, dinosaurs, and dragons. According to Sousa, children are more likely to learn when the information being taught is interesting to them. That's one of the key points planning cycle, to base your planning of the program on children's dispositions for learning, interests, their culture, and their needs. Children's interests is usually a typical way educators observe children, but of course you can do it for intentional teaching, intentionality in play, and many other reasons. But I was following children's interests. I wanted to use Barbara Rogov lenses. It's quite an unusual way to analyze observations. I hope you will actually learn a lot from this video as well in terms of how to use these lenses for analysis. I have a special video on Barbara Rogov. Watch it, click on end screen or I understood that most 4 to 5 years olds in this particular preschool cannot represent their thoughts and ideas in writing yet. I decided to create multiple opportunities for multiliteracy, encourage children to use what Lillian Katz and Reggio Emilia call graphic language. I am a huge fan of Reggio Emilia approach, and I was reading this book at the stage 100 Languages of Children by Edwards. I decided to use modern technology for documenting children's discussions. So I used the microphone to record their discussions and to transcribe their discussion. And this is also quite an interesting planning cycle. Children are able to share a lot with me in terms of their own thinking and their own work. Keeping Gardner concept of multiple intelligences in mind, I also planned a variety of experiences that would respond to these 9 intelligences. My experiences included art, music, small group discussions, fine motor skills, experience of drama. So my planning was also quite traditional. I used books about reptiles, snakes, dinosaurs. I also was going to talk with children about prehistoric modern reptiles, listen to their theories and their knowledge, and pretty much be an observer rather than a teacher. So Cryer, Harms, and Ray also inspired me. Their research in terms of carrying on extended conversations with children. 5 years old, they love to talk, so it helps to develop positive sense of self and improves their language social skills. Why, as one of the most common types of observations, I have chosen anecdotal observations, learning stories, jottings, and children transcripts, language transcripts. So let's start with step one. If you remember the planning cycle, step one is set or go back. I know you are learning. Observe. Yeah, observe, listen, collect information. And I'm going to use a red color. So here are some questions to guide you through this stage. What do I know about this child or children, including their current knowledge, strengths, interests, skills, capabilities, abilities, and culture? Is the information gathered on the child? Is there evidence of this? Does the information add value to the outcomes of the child? Very important to collect information that is meaningful and is on learning. Do I ensure that my observations are meaningful and more than just description of what the child is doing and had done? I promise you that this would be one of those types of observation. Do you ensure that the voices of children and families are sought? You definitely will see that. How is documentation to showcasing child dispositions such as curiosity? Also will have persistence, discoveries, theories, perspectives, knowledge, skills, involvement in learning, contribution to their own. Is the information that I collect is formats do I use to document? I already told you. And do I capture the essential information? I'll let you decide. Please comment in the comments if you have anything to say about this planning cycle. You also can get it from my PayHip store, this document, observations if it's helpful. My idea is to support you with this video, and if you want additional information, you can always download. So this is stage one, observation one, snaky snake. I keep children's voice, exact word, who is present, who is right, who is present, Sarisha, Jessica, and Amy. Where? Outside, free place. Time, 11 to 11:50. Jessica and Emily went outside together, exploring the yard with excitement. Looked under the tables, benches, A-frames, the trampoline, and the veggie patches, actively searching. They moved. They kept an eye on holes in the ground and peered into puddles, and curious glances and gestures. Movements showed how engaged they were frequently, and they frequently called out to each other. The picture from all times, as you can see, no face evident here, which is good, so I don't need to worry about privacy. Emily suddenly shouted, "Snake," which made Sarisha and Jessica join in. "Snake, snake!" The excitement in their voices increased. They imagined a creature lurking nearby, then exclaimed, "Snaky snake!" expression showed a mixture of curiosity and thrill. By the style of this observation, you can see that I'm using learning stories. Yes, so I'm trying to tell a story. It's a narrative. Yes, so and that's one of my favorite types of observations. So if you want to learn how to write learning stories, I highly recommend you to use this book, Stories in Practice, Margaret Carr and Wendy Lee. That's where I learned. Right. University, when I was studying at Monash University, introduced to social cultural type of observations. So social cultural observation different if we think about developmental observations because we interject ourselves and we include all children in observation. So we include children in the relationship. Yeah, we focus on interactions, on exchanges, on those contacts, right? And that's why I'm in observation. Approached them and asked what they were doing. Jessica responded, looking for the snaky snake. Grabbed my hand eagerly, leading me along with them as they continued their exploration. They moved towards the cubby house. Emily said, let's go together. We have to find Snaky Snake. This was filled with excitement, and the group looked around intently. The ever enthusiastic Eddie. No Snaky Snake in the saucepan, as she peered inside, showing the determination to leave no stone unturned. Tisha chimed in, no, as they continued their focus unwaveringly. Jessica checked the area near the water puddle, and with a playful stomp, she said, Snaky Snake! She stomped again, adding a rhythm to her words, Snaky Snake! The snake to appear. Is it a dangerous snake? Paul replied quickly, no. With a grin added, it's a funny snake. It's a lizard. After showing how the imagination had taken the playful turn, transforming their pretend snake into a friendly creature. They noticed Bailey and few other boys nearby. And Emily waved to them, then turned back to their mission. Shouted, shoo, shoo, snaky snake, while Jessica made a hiss to the atmosphere of the game. Enthusiasm drew Bailey and the boys over, creating a larger group. They stomped and hissed their imaginative adventure across the playground, forming a brief but joyful community of explorers. They eventfully moved on. They left behind an echo of giggles and excitement, continuing their adventure elsewhere in the yard. Activity allowed them to express their creativity, use playful language, and collaborate with peers, while fully immersed in their imaginary world. That was the first stage. This is an observation I collected. So I already collected information about the context, so that notes about what children do every day. I also collected some notes about children's interests, this focus group interest. It's a focused observation. So I know they're interested in reptiles, so it's not the first time they play this game. This one is so wonderful, and of course I wanted to document it as I learned. So, stage number 2 is assess. As I used to call it, analysis. So assess. Let's have a look at what's happening at this stage. Stage, we have to analyze, interpret learning through your own knowledge and experience. To a question, what does the information tell me about what and how the child is learning? Focus on learning is very important, educators, very important. You are observing something and you don't know what you're observing for. Look again, what kind of learning you don't know developmental theory, so you might need to read a little bit more on theories and development of children and then come back to observation. Where can this be found in my documentation? So you will see learning. I will show you explicitly. I address the what children were doing, why they were doing that, and how. Also, is it evident? Yes, so in your analysis, make sure that you add this. Learning is happening. Analyze what child is learning, not just documented what child has done. The typical rookie mistake of my beginning early childhood students, research. They document what they see. Sometimes they strike gold, but sometimes it's not relevant. This information about the child's strengths and capacities reviewed with children, families, communities, and other professionals. So here you are collaborating with others. And how does it link to the EYLF? So that's our second stage in hot pink, to assess. After observing children playing snake is snake, I am assessing. Snakes, lizards, hunt treasure. These topics seem to be interesting for focus group children. Initiated this plan. Seem to enjoy running, chasing, exploring space. Sarisha and Jessica are together most of the time. Interacted a lot during snake. Verbal, non-verbal communication and cooperated as they explored the area. She was a leader in this. She ran ahead of the group. She and Jessica followed eagerly. They smiled a lot and looked at each other. For me, suggests a positive interaction and friendship. Environment includes natural logs and spaces, so children can run around and explore the space safely. It includes several dedicated spaces and places, a cubby house, halls, and a huge park. Play is considered part of the curriculum. There is always a water table outside, some days even inside. Imaginative play is spotted. Girls already played Easter egg hunt when I was days place, acting the same way, looking for the hidden chocolate eggs, and children know about snakes and holes. There's knowledge, some emerging concept. You can see is answering question what children obviously are using imaginative play to explore the hunt, the scenario of hunt. Also demonstrated very close friendship, verbal, non-verbal interactions, and cooperative stage of play. They explored cooperatively, so they play cooperatively, which is the highest social stage in play. I'm using Rogoff's lenses, which means that I have personal, interpersonal, and institutional lens. Which you can see here, personal is what my focus group children is interested in. That's personal. Interpersonal is how they interact with each other and other children. Finally, environmental or institutional lens. Barbara Rogoff was talking about environment. Does it support this kind of learning? To eventually add some assessment. Remember to use. Most important document is EYLF, your state framework, Victorian framework, and this will help you to make analysis more substantiated. You will see what to add. Growing knowledge, it will be easier for you to analyze, but at the first stage of your planning, you obviously will be using EYLF a lot. We are moving on to the third stage. Remember, I promised we'll go through all 5 stages. We're going to plan. Planning is orange, so we are designing an experience or even a program. What are my intentions for furthering learning and development? What strategies and experiences will I provide? And how do I plan? Planning visible. How or are the resources decided upon? Will the learning opportunity be set? Using what I have observed and analyzed to extend the child's learning. What assessors want to see is continuity. So since they were running outside, together, they were interested in snakes, we want to introduce, let's say, trucks. Or we don't want to introduce just a book about snakes. We want created holistic experience that responds to their desire to run around and search for things, inquiry play, discovery play, outside play, right? Also, we need to consider how we can enrich and extend the child's learning, development, and thinking. To think about how you can introduce concepts at this stage. You need to respond to child abilities and strengths. Remember, Emily is a leader. And strengths include that they are good friends, so their relationship is strong. 2 of them are very verbal, so their language is very developed, while the third child also developed from memory. So this might be a good idea for her to participate in more activities, more verbal children, more vocabulary. Think about how plans constructed jointly in collaboration with the child and family. On to the orange stage, so we covered red, covered pink, it says. Now we are into planning. I will continue observation to understand what girls know about snakes. Are they interested in snakes? Only snake? Talk with parents and teachers about child's interest. As children showed interest in treasure hunt, I could extend this activity by playing hide and seek, cold and hot. So my plan is to repeat this outdoor game, but more intentionality in play. So I will be not running this game, but I will guide children. It would be a guided hide and seek game where the movement would be a little bit more, I would say, thought, right? So with intention. This is only one example of planning. So you join jot down, right? So things going to do, and then you need to implement. So Jessica looked excited to find the snake. She asked to close our eyes and then put the snake under the tree. When we started to search for the snake, Jessica pointed her finger into the bushes and said, "There, over there." Emily took the snake next and decided to hide it. Damon said, "I know this game." We played one more time. This hide and seek with Emily hiding the snake in a new spot. I offered to hide the snake in the sandpit for the next round. It took us 5 minutes to find the snake as I have. So this was an implementation of hide and seek game. So I had a plastic snake and I did hide it in the bushes and we did a few rounds. It was a really exciting game, by the way. If you ever wonder how to entertain a group of preschoolers, play hide and seek, treasure or thing. I also extended it, as I said, by playing cold and hot. I'm not gonna explain how I did it, maybe another video, but it was really fun. So Emily took the snake, so you can see that Emily still a leader, right? So but we are going to next stage, evaluation. So that's the first cycle done with me observing child and planning on the spot. It's a very short cycle and it's okay to go through this cycle like this. You don't have to go for days and days. Some cycles may finish within the day or two, and that's the example of. So children were engaged in the extended play experience as well. So they were engaged in the initial play experience. They showed interest in snakes as a thing to hide and seek. They seem to enjoy closing their eyes and keeping themselves from peeing. So this actually is a great example of self-regulation. So I was introducing it as part of Vygotsky ZPD, or zone proximal development. I helped children to keep their eyes closed and gave them verbal clues for seeking this. It was not easy to keep their eyes closed and not let anyone know where the snake. The yard looks ideal for hide and seek games. It also has a large sandpit where the treasure could be buried. So you can imagine that's kind of going towards the next. Supervisor gave me feedback. I wonder if you will consider the safety aspects of handling snakes and experiencing snakes in nature, and what do you do if you see one, encounter one. Really great feedback. So you can see that now this planning cycle for one experience complete. And now this starts of the second cycle. I'm going to make another video on that, but before I will show you one thing. So that's gonna be next video. That is called the mind map. So when you create a program, you will have few planning cycles with a group of children or individual child that you observe. Documenting it as a mind map, making sure that you document interests and some ideas for future play as an initial mind map with simple notes can help you to create lots and lots of experience. So this responds well to planning stage, which, if you remember, is orange. And this is a much more detailed map that I'm gonna just extend a little bit. So you can see that this is a massive map that has the full curriculum based on this interest. And I cover art area. So this is a current curriculum program in the room. So I used the program and wrote it down here. And in different color, I edit experiences that I plan. When you are a student or a relief teacher or a co-teacher, you already sometimes have a program, so you can contribute to it. And this is the way to contribute to the program. Okay? So next video will cover second planning cycle, and I'll go through this program that I created, and I will show you the evaluation of the whole program step. But this was the first planning cycle where we went through all 5 stages. And you could see that I observed a group of children. They were interested in snakes and reptiles. I assessed their knowledge using Barbara Rogoff 3 planes of analysis. I planned one experience that is called hide and seek, snakey snake, and hot game outside with extended group of children. And then I implemented it, so we played it, and then I evaluated and critically reflected. So I'd say that everything worked well in this planning cycle, but I had a gap. I didn't talk about dangerous and be careful. So because it was such a wonderful free play imagination, we can then plan more intense intentional experience, maybe excursion to reserve, or maybe a visit from reptile program, and this can also further extend on all group children's learning and safety. We also can design future plans, of course, based on this, and the mind map showed you that I did a lot of experience. So that's pretty much it from me. I promise to make a lot of videos that show you the planning cycle over and over again, and I will definitely make more videos about Snake's adventure and observations. That if you really like this video, consider subscribing if you are not subscribed yet. Share it with your fellow educators, students, and anyone who would benefit from learning more about the planning cycle and the EYLF planning cycle. In the comments below, post how you plan. Do you have any suggestions to improve planning? Share your strategies. Let's build a community of planners and enthusiastic educators who can help each other. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.